A team member expected to lead the project because I have more seniority, but refused to do any of the planning, saying, "That's your job." When I took charge, he complained that I was power-hungry and tried to undermine me in meetings. I presented my completed project outline and said, "Funny, since you didn't contribute a single idea, but you're welcome to do the extra work if you want the credit." Working in a tech company in Chicago, I was part of a team assigned to a high-profile project that could significantly boost our firm's reputation. Our manager, Lisa, called us into a meeting to discuss leadership for this critical assignment. Before anyone else could speak, Mark, a senior developer known for his assertiveness, said, "Given my seniority, I should lead this project." Lisa responded, "Experience is valuable, Mark. Are you prepared to handle the planning and coordination involved?" Mark dismissed the concern, saying, "Planning is just paperwork. Let someone else handle it." The room was silent. After the meeting, Lisa approached me and asked if I would take on the planning responsibilities. I agreed, knowing the importance of the project. Over the next few weeks, I developed a comprehensive project plan, coordinating with various departments to ensure all details were covered. During meetings, Mark frequently interrupted, questioning my decisions and suggesting changes that deviated from the plan. He accused me of being power-hungry and undermined my leadership. The situation escalated during a stakeholder meeting when Mark publicly expressed doubts about the project's feasibility. I responded, "Mark, considering you didn't contribute to the planning, I'd be interested to hear your specific concerns." The room fell silent. Lisa intervened, supporting my leadership and emphasizing the importance of constructive feedback. After the meeting, Lisa commended me for handling the situation professionally. The project continued under my guidance and was successfully completed, earning praise from the client. Mark's attempts to undermine me ceased, and he eventually transferred to another team. This experience taught me valuable lessons about leadership, planning, and workplace dynamics. After that meeting, Mark went quiet for a while. No more passive-aggressive comments, no more snide remarks in front of the team. I figured he was done trying to sabotage me. I was wrong. About 2 weeks later, I noticed something strange. I started getting emails from other departments asking about decisions I never made. One email from finance said, "Per your approval, we're moving forward with the vendor switch this week." What vendor switch? I called finance to ask what they meant. Turns out, someone forwarded them a document with my name digitally signed at the bottom. But I never signed anything like that. When I got a copy, it was clear. Someone had copied my signature from a previous report and pasted it onto a new document. I brought it straight to Lisa. Her eyes narrowed when she saw it. "This is serious. Did you authorize this at any point?" "No," I told her. "That's not my decision. It wasn't even discussed with me." She nodded slowly. "Let me talk to HR. We need to open an investigation." That day, I left work feeling off. This wasn't just workplace rivalry anymore. It felt like something more. Something deeper. The next morning, I logged into our project system and saw that several task timelines had been changed. Milestones pushed back. Resource allocations adjusted. Notes added that made it look like I was falling behind. It was subtle, but it was enough to raise flags if someone looked at it without context. I double-checked the system logs. The changes were made under my login. Only problem? I was asleep during that time. I pulled the access logs and printed them out. Lisa brought in IT. They confirmed that someone had logged in using my credentials from a remote IP. It wasn't mine. Meanwhile, the team started acting strange. People who had been friendly started keeping their distance. I overheard whispers. Phrases like, "I heard Alex is struggling," and "maybe Mark was right." It all came to a head in our next big meeting. Lisa asked me to walk through the updated project timeline. I could see the looks. The quiet skepticism. As if they were waiting for me to mess up. I pulled out the original plan. Then I showed screenshots of the system changes. I laid out timestamps, access logs, emails. Every little thing that didn't add up. Then I said, "I've been accused of being controlling. That's fine. But if anyone thinks I'm sabotaging my own project, let's talk about that." Because either someone's pretending to be me or I'm sleepworking. And I don't sleepwork. The room was dead silent. Lisa sat forward. We've confirmed that someone accessed Alex's account using external tools. This is now a security issue. And we're handling it accordingly. Mark didn't say a word. He didn't even look at me. After the meeting, one of my teammates, Carlos, pulled me aside. I probably shouldn't say anything, he said, but I think you should know. Mark's been talking to a few folks behind the scenes, telling them the project's going off the rails. He even hinted that management might replace you. I asked him, why would he say that? Carlos looked uncomfortable. He told people you were in over your head, that he was doing damage control. I didn't believe it, but others might have. I nodded. Thanks for telling me. By the end of the week, HR had Mark on a performance review. They hadn't officially connected him to the forged signature or the system breach, but they were digging. The company's legal team got involved. Mark started working from home due to stress. But the damage to my reputation had already begun. I had to work twice as hard just to keep people's trust. Every decision I made was questioned. Every move picked apart. I stayed late. I worked weekends. I documented everything. And then something happened that threw everything sideways. I got a call from an old coworker, someone I used to work with in Seattle before I moved to Chicago. Hey, he said. Is this about that guy, Mark? I was confused. What do you mean? He sighed. Mark used to work with us at our firm out here. Pulled almost the same thing. Claimed he should lead a project, tanked the team, and blamed everyone else when it fell apart. We found out he'd been altering files behind the scenes to make the PM look bad. HR couldn't prove it all back then, but he resigned real fast once they started digging. My stomach dropped. That was his pattern. Find someone doing the real work, step over them, then try to take the credit when things succeeded. Or sabotage them if they didn't fall in line. Now I had more than just suspicions. I had a pattern of behavior, a history, and I wasn't going to stay quiet about it. I brought everything to Lisa the next day, my old coworker's testimony, emails from the Seattle firm, even a copy of a performance memo mentioning Mark's unprofessional interference from his previous job. I didn't accuse him directly. I just said, seems like this isn't the first time someone's dealt with this. Lisa took it seriously. She set up a call with HR, legal, and IT. I wasn't allowed in the meeting, but I got the feeling it was big. After that, things got quiet again. Too quiet. Then, out of nowhere, Mark came back to the office. No warning, no notice. Just walked in one Monday morning like nothing happened. He smiled like he owned the place, made some loud jokes near the break room, and even stopped by my desk. You know, he said with a fake chuckle, this project wouldn't be half as stressful if you'd learned to delegate. I didn't respond. I just stared at him. That same old smug grin on his face, like he was daring me to say something. Lisa called me into her office later that day. She looked exhausted. Legal is handling it, but until there's hard proof, we can't let this turn into a witch hunt. Mark has a right to be here. I just nodded. But my gut said otherwise. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. It just said, careful who you trust. They're protecting him. I froze. My phone buzzed again. He has dirt on someone upstairs. I didn't sleep much. The next day, I noticed something was off in our shared project folder. Someone had started editing my documents again, this time more carefully. Tiny changes. Key numbers slightly off. Just enough to trigger red flags in the QA process. If I hadn't triple-checked, it would have looked like I was sloppy or, worse, intentionally sabotaging progress. I saved all the version history, took screenshots. Then I locked all access and created backups on a secure drive, only accessible to me and Lisa. I didn't mention it yet. I wanted to see what would happen next. Sure enough, 2 days later, Mark sent out a status update email to senior management. He copied me, Lisa, and a few execs. In it, he suggested the project was behind schedule and raised questions about data inconsistencies in my reports. He even attached a graph, one that had the exact same tampered numbers I'd fixed earlier. I replied all. Attached the original version history, complete with timestamps. Explained that someone had tried to alter the numbers and provided my secured logs as proof. Lisa responded almost immediately. Thank you, Alex. We're reviewing everything now. Everyone, please refrain from sharing project files until further notice. That night, I got another message from the same unknown number. You were supposed to let it slide. Now he's going to hit harder. Now I was on edge. Someone was watching everything. Maybe more than one person. Someone inside. The next morning, I walked into the office and found an envelope on my chair. No name, just a printed page inside. It was a screenshot of a Slack conversation between Mark and another employee. They were talking about me. We just need to discredit him enough that they'll pull him from the lead role, one-line read. If I push too hard, Lisa might catch on. You plant the seed. Below that, another message. Don't worry. I already told Ravi and Denise he's unstable. Gave them examples. That same day, Denise avoided eye contact. Ravi was short with me. People were picking sides now, and half didn't even realize what was going on. I made copies of the envelope. Lisa looked pale when I showed her. This is getting dangerous, she whispered. But if we're going to end this, we need to be smart. She gave me permission to gather everything. Full documentation. Every email, Slack message, meeting note. We built a timeline, matched it with project logs and calendar invites. We cross-checked every single version of every document. And then came the twist I didn't see coming. Lisa got a call from an outside firm doing a quiet audit. Not internal audit, external. Independent. They'd been brought in by the client after someone anonymously tipped them off that our project had leadership issues. We all knew who sent it. The client was now watching us too. Mark knew it. And he used it. Started planting little doubts with the client contact, asking for clarification on things that were already approved. Pretending to help, but really just feeding confusion. Delaying deliverables by adding more steps. Lisa pulled me aside. I hate to say this, she said, but if we don't shut this down fast, they might pull the contract. And that's jobs on the line. It wasn't just about me anymore. Mark wasn't just targeting my role. He was willing to tank the whole project to prove a point or, worse, to rebuild it his way. I made a decision. If no one else could stop him, I'd do it myself. And I wasn't going to play by his rules anymore. I started meeting with Lisa after hours. We didn't tell anyone. We dug deeper, building a file of everything Mark had done, tampered documents, altered timelines, messages, fake emails, even his shady Slack chats. I also tracked who backed him up, who stayed quiet, and who fed him information. But something wasn't adding up. One night, while sorting through an old folder, I found a shared document I hadn't opened before. It was titled Final Timeline, Master. It looked like mine. But the access log said I had edited it at 2:43 a.m. on a Sunday. That didn't make sense. I checked the IP again. It was from my apartment. My stomach dropped. I pulled the network history from my home Wi-Fi router. There it was, a strange device connected that night. I dug further. My old laptop, the one I left at work months ago. I'd forgotten all about it. Turns out, Mark hadn't just faked my signature. He had gotten physical access to my stuff. At some point, probably during one of his late nights at the office, he took that old laptop and set it up to make changes from my account, using my home network when I wasn't around. He planned this a long time ago. I showed Lisa. She stared at the screen for a long time. You need to give this to legal. Today, we sent everything to the legal team, IT security, and the client's audit firm. Full disclosure. Nothing held back. Then I did something bold. I scheduled a meeting. With everyone. Mark, the team, Lisa, legal, even the client rep. A full house. I called it a project alignment session. Mark couldn't resist showing up. He thought I was folding under pressure. I stood at the front of the room, just like I had at the very first meeting. But this time, I wasn't nervous. I want to clarify some things, I started, and I'll let the facts speak for themselves. Then I clicked through the slides. One by one. Logins. Messages. Changes. All of it. No commentary. Just evidence. At slide 10, Mark tried to speak. "This is clearly a misunderstanding, quiet," Lisa said, sharper than I'd ever heard her. Let him finish. At slide 20, the client rep looked visibly angry. At 30, the legal team stepped in. "That's enough," they said. Mark was frozen. Someone from legal asked him, "Do you have anything to say?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. He had nothing. They walked him out before the meeting ended. Not just from the room. From the company. Security took him. After he was gone, it came out that he had done similar things in other companies. He used people, faked info, burned teams, then ran. No one had collected all the proof before. This time, he couldn't hide. But here's where my part comes in. I made mistakes too. I let things slide early on. I ignored red flags. I stayed quiet to avoid conflict. I thought working harder would fix it. But all it did was give him more space to dig in. I apologized to my team later. For not protecting them sooner. For letting someone like him gain power by staying silent. Some teammates forgave me. Others didn't. Carlos left a month later. Denise transferred out. Ravi stayed, but things were never the same. The project was saved. We delivered it late but solid. The client stayed. I got promoted. But I never forgot what it cost. Revenge didn't feel like triumph. It felt like survival. Like dragging yourself out of a fire you should have put out months ago. But at least this time, the arsonist didn't walk away smiling.